Hello everybody. Today I was going to bring you along on making a vintage recipe. And this is actually one handed down in my family. This is my grandmother's fudge pie recipe. I've been seeing on Facebook a recipe going around for a hot fudge pie, and it reminded me about my grandmother's fudge pie. And I keep meaning to do a video on this, and I haven't gotten around to it, but a while back my mother gave me an envelope that had some of my grandmother's recipes in them. And a lot of them are handwritten, and this is one of them, her fudge pie. And I remember going over there, especially in my teenage years, her always having this fudge pie on hand, and it was always yummy, great with ice cream or Cool Whip or both, whichever. So I'm going to make this today and bring y'all along, and hopefully I can do Grandmom's recipe justice. So what you're going to need is a cup of sugar, 2 ounces of chocolate. I'm going to use the unsweetened. You could probably use the semi-sweet, and I think that's probably what she used. I just don't have any on hand, and I'm not going to the store. 1 stick of salted butter. It just says 1 stick of butter. I have salted. I've got 2/3 of a cup of flour in here. We're going to have a teaspoon of vanilla, 3 eggs, and a 1/2 cup of chopped nuts. I'm not going to put any nuts in it because my husband doesn't care for them. So if he weren't around, I would probably be putting the pecans in there. So anyway, I'm going to get this started. We're going to melt the butter and chocolate together over low heat. And let me get set up for that, and we'll be back in just a minute. Alright, as you see, I've got this is actually cast iron, enamel coated cast iron that's seen better days. It's kind of old. Got the butter and the chocolate, 2 ounces of chocolate in here, and it's starting to melt down. I've just got it set on probably about, not even 2, just kind of a simmer, so I'm going to let it slow melt, and I'm going to keep an eye on it, and I'm hoping I can mix all this in this one pot. We'll see. I know I'm going to have to kind of beat the eggs a little bit in a separate bowl. So, but anyway, when we get further along in the melting, we'll be back. Got this good and melted. It's just, I kept it on a real low heat. In fact, I had to go outside and look at something, so I just took it off the heat as it had just started to melt, and it sat here in this pot and pretty well melted down almost perfectly for when I came back in. So, you know, you definitely don't want to leave it on the heat because your butter and chocolate will burn very easily. This could be done in a double boiler if you have one, and I do have one. I just figured this would be quicker and easier. So okay, we're melted. I'm going to get this moved over here, and I'm going to try to mix all this in this pot, and we'll see how we do with that. So let me get reset up. Okay, our next step is to add the dry ingredients. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and dump the sugar in there and get that mixed in, because you definitely want this butter and chocolate to cool down a good bit before you put any eggs in here, because you don't want to scramble your eggs, and they will cook if the stuff is hot. So let it cool down a little bit, and adding the dry ingredients will help with that. And this is going to bake at 350 for 25 minutes. So I've got my oven preheating at, actually, I gotta turn that down to 325, so get that knocked down a little bit there. Okay, so there's our sugar. Here's our 2/3 cup of flour. Just gonna add all that in there, like so. Come on there. All right. I've got a pie plate greased up already. Actually, the funny thing is, it's one of my grandmother's pie plates. I somehow or another ended up with the majority of her pie plates when she passed away, which is fine. There were so many of them, I had to downsize somewhat. But okay, so we got the flour mixed in pretty good, and I'm hoping since I used salted butter, I'm not going to worry about adding any salt. Next goes in, what goes in next? Let's see. Pour in, let's see. add beaten eggs. It doesn't say anything about the vanilla as to when to add it, so I'm going to go ahead and add that now. And the top open, 1 teaspoon of vanilla. There you go. There. That mixed in. I'm really tempted to add nuts in here. I'm trying to be nice though, because my husband doesn't like them. Alright, so here's the eggs. 3 of them already beaten. And this is actually nice. This is like one of those 1 bowl brownie recipes. I'm just going to turn it into a pie. There we go. Okay. Actually, let me go ahead and do this. I always try to bake my pies on a foil covered pan, flat pan like this. Just in case it overflows, and that way I don't have to clean up a mess out of my oven. Okay, so pouring this into a greased 9-inch pie plate. Hopefully y'all can see that. Oh yeah, I think you can. One of these days I'm really gonna have to. That's better. Get me a smaller tripod. Good enough. More. Alright, we are going to clean up the little messes so they don't burn there. And once our oven's preheated, we're going to pop it in there. So we'll bring you back when we're done. Finished pie is out of the oven. I've had it sitting on a cooling rack for a while we had dinner. It did sink in the middle. I don't know if that's showing up on camera or not. Tilted a little bit, but you know what? My grandmothers used to do that too. I remember it very distinctly, and they were still delicious. So when we get ready to cut into this and put some ice cream with it, I will take a picture and show you and have a little taste test for you, and we'll see if I've lived up to Grandmom's pie. Alright, I've popped mine in the microwave to warm it up a little bit, and I'm going to have a taste. It's a little fudgy here on the very center, but that's fine with me. It's a fudge pie. So, ice cream. Very good. Just like Grandmom's. I think she'd be proud having a bite of that. Definitely very good. I will put a copy of the recipe below in the description box so you don't have to worry about trying to scribble it down. I hope you'll give this pie a try. You might want to let it cook just a little bit longer than I did. It's I'm fine with it being soft and fudgy in the middle because it is a fudge pie and it's supposed to kind of be that way if you want it a little warm and gooey. I like that. If you want yours a little firmer, then cook it a little bit longer. Thank you for watching. I hope you'll give this recipe a try and give me a thumbs up and comment below. If you have any questions, please feel free to put them below or send me a message and I'll answer you as soon as I possibly can. Happy cooking, y'all.